Hey everybody, this is Grimmy, and thank you so much for 80,000 subscribers. Sorry it's a bit late, lots of life stuff got in the way, but this 20 style challenge is finally here. As the name suggests, it is a 20 art style challenge, so I asked you guys to suggest me some art styles, and these are 20 of the suggestions. This challenge isn't to make the art styles perfect. For a lot of these art styles, it's the first time I've actually ever drawn them. So it's really just for some fun and trying out my skills. I used a bunch of different references for each style to make my boy Jaggers look like he would actually fit into the world. Sometimes he looks like he would fit right in, other times he looks awkward, but you guys can be the judge of that. So we're starting off with my style as a sort of reference point. I like to use bright colors and exaggerate expressions, sort of push the limits of anatomy, stuff like that. And I typically have a quite limited amount of details in my characters. I find that since my main profession is comics, that having quite simplistic but bold designs makes it easier for each character to be recognizable without having to go over the top with the designs, and makes them easy to draw over and over again. My art is pretty cartoonish, but if I was to give it a name of how I describe it, I'd say it's a European manga. So like a manga style that's more with European influences rather than, rather than Japan. The Adventure Time style was pretty easy to replicate since it's quite simplistic, and I had a lot of fun to research all the different characters to find the best details so that I could draw Jaggers. I've never watched Adventure Time other than a few random clips and episodes, and I don't know if it'd be my type of show I personally enjoy, but it's quite visually appealing, I find. The style's really cute, and I did find some clips and characters that are quite funny. The game Animal Crossing is in 3D, so I decided to be mean to myself and try to replicate that. I honestly could have just done it 2D, but for some reason I didn't want to do with that, so here we are. I've only ever played New Horizons, and that was way after it had released. It's a pretty fun game, and I really enjoyed it when I played it, even though I haven't done that in months. I probably should check out my villagers and see that they're all doing alright. Rubber hose refers to the old, early 1900s style of animation. I took inspiration from Cuphead specifically because a lot of the actual early 1900s animation is actually quite grainy, and it's quite hard to see the art style, I find. So I used the Cuphead style to sort of have an easier reference point. But instead of coloring it in like I do all the other drawings, I decided to keep it in grayscale because, I don't know, let's do something different. This was relatively easy to recreate, but since I'm doing this digitally and not in the traditional way, it doesn't have that same sort of grainy, nostalgic, real feel of the early 1900s. The South Park design is pretty straightforward. I've never really watched South Park fully, but I did watch the first couple of seasons and some random episodes and clips sporadically throughout my life. I'd say Kevin is probably my favorite character, or Kyle. I find them interesting. I've never watched Demon Slayer, but the art is certainly pretty. The line art is what really stood out to me, because unlike a lot of anime that just have smooth lines, Demon Slayer has different thicknesses that look sharp at certain angles. I don't know how to explain it, but you get what I mean. But anyway, I spent the most amount of time on the line art to get it right as best as I could, because that's where I saw most of the personality when it came to this art style. I never watched the original Dragon Ball series, nor did I watch the original Dragon Ball Z. I actually only ever watched the abridged series by Team 4 Star, and that's only been recently. Thank you, Emily. I have watched some of the actual movies, however, and seen a few episodes from Dragon Ball Super, which I've been really enjoying. Piccolo is probably my favorite character, closely followed by Vegeta. The art style is very specific, and the proportions gave me some difficulty, especially around the face. I'm super proud of that hand, but I don't think it fits with the rest of the body somehow. I think I made it too big, but I still like the final product. It's quite fun. The My Hero Academia style gave me quite a lot of trouble because each of the characters look so wildly different. I decided to just use my favorite character as my base reference and then use details from other designs to fill in the blanks. And yes, Endeavor is my favorite character for many reasons that I could endlessly list off, but the main reason is dem titties. Look at him. Big, strong, fiery man. I like the big, strong man. Also red hair, amazing character design, everything I love to see. I've honestly stopped watching the show and mainly kept up with the manga, but stopped after a while because I just didn't have the time. Maybe I'll pick it up again one of these days, who knows. Danny Phantom is one of those shows that I knew existed and watched random episodes of, but never knew what it was. Of course, the style is very recognizable, so it makes it easy to be like, oh yeah, the Ghost Boy one. This one was quite a trust the process sort of challenge, because it wasn't until I got to the line art and worked on the thick outline and the thin lines within the character design that I really felt that it was like slowly coming all together. It's a very specific style. Studio Ghibli, this one looks weird to me. I think it's because I gave Jaggers like actual eye holes in his mask to make it fit the style more, because it kind of has more realistic feel. It's quite simple and a soft style, but I really struggled with it. I did watch some of the movies growing up, and Princess Mononoke is definitely my favorite. I haven't watched it in a while, but I loved the world it was set in with all the different creatures and visuals, and the story was really intriguing to me when I first watched it. I don't even know this one. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is definitely a style that's very fun to replicate. I had a blast with the teeth, but I'm so not used to seeing Jaggers like this. I love how everything is over the top and exaggerated. The poses, the designs, the expressions. It's a lot of fun to look at visually. Again, I've never watched JoJo, I've only ever read the first volume, which I did enjoy. I also had to research it for a class I was teaching, so that was pretty interesting. Still, JoJo is one of those things I see referenced everywhere, and it just goes right over my head. K-On! Another anime I never watched, but saw everywhere! I swear there are so many animes with this style, specifically with like those type of eyes. Unless all the various clips I've seen are all from the same show and I'm losing my mind, which is also a high probability. Anyway, the main point of interest are the eyes. I'd say that's what ties the style together. And I like it, it's very cute. Jagger's looking very cute here. Now, hopping over to a Western cartoon with regular show, this was relatively easy to replicate. The very simple shapes did give me a little bit of struggle, but once I got into it, no more issues. I've never watched regular show again, but I've just seen some clips on YouTube and, of course, the meme. I remember when Don't Starve first started making rounds on YouTube, but I never really paid attention to it because it didn't seem like my type of game. But I didn't realize how huge it had gotten since. The style gives off quite a sketchy sort of vibe to me, so that's what I decided to replicate. It didn't give me any trouble, just a question of getting the hang of it. I also tried to get the colors to match the style as well, and I'm pretty happy with the outcome. It looks really nice, I like it. I don't know with this one. I have no idea if I succeeded or not. I just took a bunch of different character details from various One Piece characters that I thought might suit Jaggers and just slapped it together. I don't think I succeeded in making him look like a One Piece character, but an attempt was made. One Piece is one of those animes I'd want to give a try if it wasn't for the fact it is horrendously long. I've just accepted I'll never watch it and just enjoy the various clips and analysis videos instead. The character designs are really fun visually though, so that was fun looking through all the different characters to find details for Jaggers. Despite never having played Pokemon growing up, I remember catching a couple episodes of the original cartoon when I was little. The episode featured Skitty, that little pink flower cat. I thought it was adorable, and now Skitty is my favourite Pokemon, because I don't know any others besides Pikachu and some of the starters. Anyway, there were a few styles I could pick from depending on the games and shows, but I mostly went with the cartoon style. Most of the significant details are in the face, so that's what I tried going for. I don't know if I got it. I got a bit of struggle with the mouth for some reason, but I do like the end result. Had to add a Pokeball in there just to make sure it really brought it home, but it's a Pokemon style. Sailor Moon, another show I never watched, but saw some scenes of randomly, but will never sit down and watch completely. I don't know, the show never appealed to me. The style was pretty straightforward though, old school, sparkly anime, which was pretty fun to do. I hadn't drawn a style like that before. Again, Bob's Burgers. I've never watched the show, but I've seen clips and it's very funny. That is a show I'd actually like to sit down and watch fully one day. The style threw me off a bit because of the head shapes and it's just not how Jaggers normally looks, but I think I pulled it off pretty well. The simple shapes again gave me some struggles, but nothing too bad. Okay, this one I don't think I did well at all. It just looks like a generic anime style. I don't think you'd be able to tell that it's specifically meant to be The Promised Neverland. I haven't watched the show, so maybe I'm wrong and it looks fine, but I don't think I did the style any justice. I probably should have taken more inspiration from the manga, which I did try to do, but I probably could have done better. Anyway, attempt made. It doesn't look bad on a technical level, but it doesn't look like Promised Neverland to me. I love Haikyuu. I stopped watching the show and reading the manga because I got so busy, but I really want to finish it. Kuro, Bokuto, and Daichi are my favorite characters. I love their dynamic with each other and also individually. They're so funny and interesting. And also, like, the Haikyuu English dub is so funny. It is actually, it's hilarious. I love it. Like, listening to it is just, it's my favorite thing. It's so funny. I'd say Haikyuu is among my favorite manga and anime. All the characters are so lovable and fun, and the emotional scenes really hit hard for me. I think it's especially because of how expressive and full of movement the art style is, which I really love. Anyway, I had a lot of fun replicating the manga style. I colored it in with base colors and no shading beyond the line art because by this point I was getting pretty burnt out. I tried, but it's so hard. I would need to spend like days on this alone to properly understand the style, all the complexities and everything. I have done painting and fine art before, but not enough to just, look at this semi-realistic painted style and replicate it like the others. I'd need to properly study it. I even tried following a tutorial, but it was just too painful. Not to mention, I was so burnt out by this point that it was just physically painful to have to try and actually finish. Maybe if I practice, a painted style more, I'll do this properly in the future, but no promises. I really couldn't do with this one. I'm so sorry. Since I couldn't finish the arcane style, I decided to do another style that was suggested. I've drawn Vivzi's pop style before, so I felt like this could be something I could do that would be easy for me to tackle despite being in a burnt out state. I really like Hazbin Hotel, Alice is my favorite, and Hell of a Buzz is awesome. Fizzaroli is my favorite in that one. I've been really enjoying the episodes, and I look forward to the new season of Hell of a Boss, no matter when it arrives. The style is quite sharp in a cartoonish way, which I found fun and pretty easy for me to draw. Because I was so tired by this point, I have no idea if Jaggers looks natural to the style or not, but it looks quirky and I like Jaggers in this style, so I'm happy with it. It was fun to draw, wasn't too stressful. And that's all 21 failed styles done. That was a lot. Too much almost. A few things I noticed. I used villains a lot as references for Jaggers. I don't know what that says about him, but that's fine. My favorite styles are ones like Haikyuu, Hazbin Hotel, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The ones that have really expressive and exaggerate features and movements. I struggled with styles that had too little detail or had too many details. I like a comfy middle ground. And that I like my own style a lot. My own style just hits that perfect middle ground for me between not overly stylized, but still clearly a cartoon where I can break the rules with anatomy, expression, other stuff. It really is just like, I'm really happy with my style. Like, I want to improve it and, you know, become more refined, but I really like how I draw things and how my style is. If I felt like my art was lacking in some way, I would adopt a technique some of the other styles had, but I don't really want to adopt any of these styles' features and details. I'm really happy just continuing to improve and refine my own style on my own. This was a very fun and yet challenging challenge to do. Being able to replicate art styles and break out of your comfort zone is definitely an important skill for artists to have, especially if you want to go into the industry and work for shows and such. It's also fun to see all the different things you can do, and it gives you a chance to figure out your weaknesses and strengths. My strengths are expressions and movements, while my weaknesses are realism and painted art styles, among other things, but you get my point. Anyway, thank you so much for 80,000 and more subscribers. Thank you so much for your patience with this video, I really appreciate it. Thank you also to my channel members: Melahai, Born of the Dark World, Katara Siracusa, Eleanor, Peppermint, Kunara Star, Hatsui Kaz, Kristen Wilson, Buttercup, and Melon Comics. And thank you Melahai for gifting memberships to Fruitless Jam 48, Marie Lar, Mixed Autumn, Socks for Art, Flower, Fuzzy Gecko, Charred Charlie, Soulkeeper, 10,000 Xylee Boyonas, and BC123VV. That's it for now, and see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.